Thanks for watching Afternoon Live. Not only does chronic stress and burnout in the workplace affect our productivity, it has physiological impacts as well. Here with what we need to know, we welcome back Stanford University physician and mindfulness expert, Dr. Greg Hammer. It's so nice to see you.
Hi, Hannah. Wonderful to see you again as well.
Well, we know this impacts us as workers, right? But our employers, it costs them money too.
Yes, I think the approach to happiness in the workplace and job satisfaction, avoidance of burnout is multifaceted. And, yes, of course, the changes to improve workplace experience do cost money in part. Not all of them, but some of them for sure they do.
Well, and we know when we're feeling that chronic stress and burnout, there are some things that happen day-to-day immediate things, but can it impact our long-term health as well?
Yes, in fact, chronic stress causes a number of hormonal changes. It causes an increase in the adrenaline in our body, which has adverse effects on our cardiovascular system. It affects an increase in cortisol in the body, which suppresses our immune system. It also causes changes in the hormones that regulate appetite and even our sex drive. So there are many, many consequences to chronic stress, impairs our sleep. And so all these things are so closely interrelated. And it's not hard to imagine how chronic stress leads to a decline in our health and aging itself.
Sure, and it's one of those vicious cycle things, right? When we're tired and stressed, we're not feeling our best, and then maybe we make some poor choices in terms of not eating right and exercising less, and then we just keep feeling worse.
That's absolutely correct, Hannah. So for example, if we're stressed, we don't sleep as well. As I said, the appetite hormones, which are leptin and ghrelin. Ghrelin stimulates our appetite. That's increased when we're sleep deprived. So that's why people tend to eat more when they're tired, especially the sugary and fatty so-called comfort foods. So our nutrition declines. We're too tired to exercise. Exercise promotes good sleep, as does good nutrition. So you see, exactly as you said, this is a vicious cycle.
What are some ways we can prioritize our wellness both mentally and physically when we're at work? It can be hard to kind of put yourself first in that situation.
That's a great question. The Stanford WellMD program, now called the Stanford WellMD and PhD program, came up with a rubric for addressing burnout related to the workplace. And really, it's a three-pronged approach. So these are the three drivers of burnout, which can also lead to the remedies of burnout. The first one is the culture in which we work. So aggressions, macro and microaggressions, obviously need to be controlled. Transparency, I think nothing drives people crazier than having the person in the next chair making more money than they are for the same work. So again, this is part of the culture, transparency in the workplace. The second domain is efficiency in the workplace. So this is a leadership issue, much like the culture is for the most part. Efficiency, if we're having to stay at work an hour or two each day extra because the workplace is very efficient, the workflow is inefficient, we miss dinner with our family, events with our kids, we're not going to be happy. And culture efficiency, the third approach is really personal resilience, and that's really my main area of interest. That's something I think we're all responsible for.
Yeah, how can we kind of take control in those situations where you can't control what your boss or employer always does, but how can we kind of focus on ourselves and put our best foot forward in that situation?
Well, we've talked about my GAIN mindfulness meditation practice. The A in GAIN is acceptance. So we do have to accept things we can't change. There are going to be things in the workplace we don't like. We need to consider whether we can change them or help change them. And if not, then we need to decide whether we're going to stay in that job. And if we are going to stay, then we need to accept the adverse circumstances in the workplace. But I think moreover, we can really work on our own personal resilience. And that, again, is just the basics, really focusing on sleep hygiene, exercise, our nutrition. These are really key to physical well-being, and they will also support our mental well-being. And then, of course, as we've discussed, mindfulness practice, I think, will help us rewire our brain to be happier in and out of the workplace.
Yeah, starting with those simple reminders are often so beneficial, and it's always good to be reminded of them. So it's really nice to see you. Thank you so much for chatting with us today.
My pleasure, Hannah. Great to see you too. Be well.
We'll see you soon. We want to remind viewers that Dr. Greg has a book called Gain Without Pain, and we'll have more information on our website at katu.com. We'll be right back with more Afternoon Live right after this.